Nightmare night. What a fright. Give us something good to bite. Good evening. I always wanted to say that. And welcome to a special Nightmare Night edition of Life in Ponydale. That's right, listeners. This edition of our broadcast will be focused entirely on the upcoming holiday of Nightmare Night. Oh yes, once again, it is that wonderful time of year when all of the ghosts and ghouls and monsters will be out and about, roaming the streets of our little towns, looking for that sweet, sweet substance that we keep locked away in our homes the rest of the year. Oh, and all the little colts and fillies will be out trick-or-treating and going door to door for your candy, so make sure you have plenty of that. Anyway, in this broadcast, we'll be covering some very important safety tips for you and your foal when you go out trick-or-treating on Nightmare Night, which is sure to happen because it's mandatory by Celestia's Secret Police. We will be giving you the full community calendar of events for the upcoming Nightmare Night celebrations in and around Ponydale. And we will be taking a look at the history of Nightmare Night, just how this little holiday came to be. It's sure to be an exciting broadcast, so you should stay right here for more spooky fun. I won't do that voice anymore, I promise. But first, let's take a look at the news. The Cantermore Homeowners Association has been registering several complaints about unwanted soliciting going on in the streets of their very city. It seems a young foal named Microtransaction has set up a little booth to peddle whatever random wares they can get their hooves on to passers-by. This includes a costume that will supposedly grant you the full powers of an alicorn. No one has truly proven if this works yet, but I have seen several ponies wearing this costume, and I have to wonder if maybe there's some truth to it. Anyway, the real complaints are not coming from the actual soliciting itself, but from the mysterious vase that floats approximately 6 hoof lengths from Microtransactions' stall in the middle of the busy Cantermore Street. There is a vase just floating there, not unlike the floating bench above the skies of Ponydale that we have all come to treasure as a national landmark. This vase is sinister and menacing, and just floats there at eye level, just staring at you as you walk by, and sometimes insulting you, and it's just not a very nice vase and a bit of an eyesore. The Cantermore Homeowners Association plans to take immediate action if their complaints are not attended to. This includes possibly throwing rocks at the vase, and maybe even buying the vase if that doesn't work. More on this as it develops. And now, here are some tips to keep your foals safe on Nightmare Night when they're out trick-or-treating or taking part in any of the other various events that are going on in and around Ponydale this season. First, tell them to stick to well-lit areas and visit mostly ponies that they know. These ponies probably have the best candy anyway, so there's really no reason to go anywhere else. Tell them to stay on paths that they are familiar with, because no one wants to get lost in Ponydale's twisting and turning streets, and even Cantermore, where everything's straight as an angle, or the Crystal Kingdom, where everything goes around in a big circle. I still find myself occasionally lost, because it is just maddening and confusing to try to get out of that place. Have you ever done that before? Anyway, don't take candy from strangers. Even if those strangers are holding up a big sign saying, "I need you to take this candy. My very life may depend on it. Please, I'm begging you, take this candy. It's free. For the love of all that is holy, take my candy." These people are likely just trying to trick you into taking some candy that is stale or possibly dangerous, and you should avoid it. Always look both ways before crossing the streets. You never know if some ponies are going to be doing a random flash mob, or maybe ponies were driving a car, even though ponies never drive cars, or the Witchmaster may be standing there, and I don't have to tell you that you should probably avoid him at all costs. So always stay together and travel in groups when trick-or-treating, because that way you get more candy, and everybody wants to get more candy. That's the whole point of going trick-or-treating. I mean, if we didn't want candy, we would just stay home all night and watch the all-night comedy marathon on the local broadcast networks, because comedy is what they always play on Nightmare Night, because that's what Nightmare Night is all about, is having a good few laughs at the expense of other ponies, right? And lastly, don't forget to look up into the heavens at night and stare at the moon and thank the moon, because if we didn't have the moon, we wouldn't have nighttime. And if we didn't have nighttime, we wouldn't have Nightmare Night. In fact, sometimes I question, why do we let foals go out and trick-or-treat on Nightmare Night? It's the most dangerous night of the year, and for some reason we decided this was the best time when foals should go out door to door and look for candy from their friends and neighbors, all alone in the dark, cold night with the eerie moon beating down upon them. Maybe let your foals go trick-or-treating on a different night of the year. Every pony around you will be very confused and probably not have any candy ready, but at least they'll be safe. This has been Tips for Keeping Your Foals Safe on Nightmare Night. Let's take a look at the weather report for the upcoming Nightmare Night week, because we all know there's a lot going on and we want to make sure the weather is appropriate for this time of year. I think the Pegasi at the Weather Center in Cloudopolis have outdone themselves this year. There are reports of spooky fog rolling in from all corners of Equestria, making things dark and gloomy as possible. So if you're prone to depression, you may just want to stay indoors, because this weather will not help you feel better about the meaning of life or the nothingness of your eternal existence or anything else that you struggle with on a day-to-day basis. There are also going to be thunderstorms and, quote, dark and scary nights to come, so you should all be prepared for that. But I understand that when the Shadowbolts Air Show is going on, they are going to make things perfect, because most of the weather team is on the Shadowbolts team, and they're definitely not wanting to make things difficult for themselves, and they can kind of, fix the weather however they want because they're Pegasi. Anyway, the weather for Nightmare Night is predicted to be just as scary as possible, so get out there and enjoy this beautiful time of year. And now, probably what you've been waiting for the entire broadcast, a look at the upcoming event schedule for the Nightmare Night Week celebration. As a note, before we begin, all times reported are in GMT. I'm not going to try to remind you what that means or how it translates to your own time, so you're just going to have to figure that out on your own. And it's not that difficult, so please do that. Anyway, on Thursday, October 25th at 9 p.m., the Shadowbolts Airshow team will be hosting the scariest airshow you've ever seen. How do they know it's the scariest airshow you've ever seen? They've been in your home and in your dreams, and they know what terrifies you. They know, and they've incorporated it into this airshow. So, you're guaranteed to be frightened if you go. That's on October 25th at 9 p.m. Don't miss it. On Friday, October 26th, also at 9 p.m., there will be a hide-and-seek event hosted by everyone's favorite Princess of Friendship, Twilight Sparkle. Why the Princess of Friendship has lowered her station to hosting hide-and-seek, we don't know. Perhaps this is some sort of friendship test, and if we don't attend, we might all fail. So, you probably want to go because failing a friendship test given by Twilight Sparkle can be hazardous to your health. On the 27th, at 8 p.m., there will be a interesting little game called only Nightmare Rush. Party planning pony and host Barry Shade has described this event to us in an interview. Barry said this event involves making ponies give up their worldly possessions and forcing them to go inside of Bramble Wood. Basically, it's a challenge that you will go on with by yourself or in teams to journey into the depths of the most terrifying place in all of Equestria. Well, one of the most terrifying places in all of Equestria. And see how far you can make it before you succumb to madness or the terrifying creatures that lurk within the walls of brambles that surround you and close in, causing claustrophobia. Barry Shade will hold on to your goods and promises not to steal anything while you're in there, and promises to give them to your next of kin if you don't make them back. This event is sure to be fun for the entire family, so bring the kids and enjoy. On the 28th, at 10 p.m., Holiday Cheer local party mayor extraordinaire will be hosting a scary story campout in the Heartlands graveyard. I don't know why she would choose to host this in a graveyard, but apparently there's a gazebo there, and we all know that Holiday Cheer has a thing for gazebos. This one will not devour your soul, it is promised, and everything should be a-okay, so bring your best scary story and sit down with Holiday Cheer. Following this event, we have received some cryptic warnings that a pony named Parabola Blaze has asked ponies to join him in an undisclosed location that he has tried to explain through riddles. I don't know who this pony is or why he keeps writing to the station telling me that the Witchmaster is coming and that I should be well while I can. On the 29th, every pony gets a free pass, but is reminded to go out and buy yourself a costume for the upcoming Nightmare Night celebrations. There are plenty of places around Equestria where you can get a great costume, including Ensemble's shop in the Crystal Kingdom, where he has always got the best holiday outfits. But if you don't want to pay the exorbitant prices that Ensemble charges, including a very large amount of bits and or parts of your soul, you can always go to other, smaller shops and support local business, like the boutique in Ponydale or Dashing Delano's shop in Cantermore. Any of these places are guaranteed to provide you with great costume pieces, and you're going to need them. On the 30th at 10:30 p.m., there will be a treasure hunt event hosted by young party mayor Melody Sweetheart Cheer, who is looking forward to being a host at this year's events. The treasure hunt will feature, well, I don't exactly know what that will feature. It's a complete and total mystery. I assume there'll be treasure and you'll be hunting for it, possibly valuable antiques or dangerous monsters. But really, I don't know, so show up on the 30th at 10:30 p.m., I guess, and see what Melody has in store for you. And on the 31st, Nightmare Night itself, at exactly 11:30 p.m., following the trick-or-treating in Ponydale and other parts of Equestria, and don't forget those safety tips we gave you earlier, you're going to need them. there will be a costume contest and fashion show hosted by Sapphire Moonlight. This costume contest will feature all sorts of ways that you can win prizes by wearing a beautiful costume. Make sure you show up exactly on time and have a great reference for your character that you are trying to portray in your costume. The fashion show will be following the costume contest and will consist of walking a aisle to show off your costume. The judges will vote on the best costumes and give the appropriate rewards to the ponies who are wearing them. Do you think we're really going to give the costumes the prizes? I mean, I know that happened last year, but this is a costume contest. But apparently that means that the pony who made the costume gets the prize and not the costume itself, because a costume really has no need for a prize. Following the costume contest and fashion show, local Party Mare Holiday Cheer has promised to throw a spooky dance party. This may also take place at the graveyard in the Heartlands, which she seems to have a fascination with lately. And if I were you, I may avoid that event if at all possible. This has been a look at the upcoming Nightmare Night events calendar. We hope that you will go out and support our local party planning committee with these events. They've outdone themselves, and it's sure to be a great and fun Nightmare Night season. And now, a public service announcement about bat ponies. Bat ponies are not your enemy. In fact, they're quite cuddly and cute. They enjoy eating fruit of all varieties and making a loud scree noise when happy. We are just giving you this public service announcement because there's going to be an awful lot of bat ponies around this time of year. There always are. Nightmare Night really brings out the bat ponies. They come to our towns, our homes, our businesses, and they're just adorable. So give one a pet behind the ears. And remember, bat ponies aren't dangerous even though they have long, sharp, pointy fangs and red eyes. They're just like you and me. In fact, bat ponies are our friends, our co-workers, our family. They might even be you and me. In fact, all of us might just get turned into bat ponies this Nightmare Night season. So, look forward to that. Being a bat pony can be fun, and you should enjoy it. And now, to round out our program for the evening, we're going to take a little look into the history of Nightmare Night. As you may or may not know, Nightmare Night was started around 1,000 years ago to placate the guilt of a certain princess who imprisoned her sister in the moon. The lunar princess was given one opportunity to return to Equestria once a year when the moon was in a certain alignment. And in order to keep her from wreaking havoc or devouring the souls of the innocents with her dread nightmare powers, it was thought that we would give a sacrifice to this woeful goddess. Yeah, we tried several things before we settled on candy, says one pony who we interviewed for this segment. But it turned out that was all she really wanted, was a bunch of candy, so we started piling up candy in various places around Equestria and making the foals go door to door and turned it into a fun little game for them, you know, dressing up in these spooky outfits and going around and dodging all the ghosts and monsters that are in the streets. But it's pretty fun, and they were able to get plenty of candy, and we haven't had any problems with the Nightmare Goddess. Of course, that's no longer an issue. And Nightmare Night has developed some rich and warm traditions over the years, like the tradition of bobbing for apples, in which ponies will stick their heads in a bucket of water to come up with a delicious apple treat, a tradition that was started during the Pony Witch Trials of 642. There are plenty of other great traditions of Nightmare Night, like spotting bat ponies in the northern sky as they fly around and scream loudly. I'm certain we're going to see plenty of bat ponies this year, just you wait and see. But perhaps the most interesting and historical moment in all of Nightmare Night history is the tale of the mysterious vanishing unicorn. Yes, there once was a unicorn who liked Nightmare Night so much that he thought he would put on an illusionary act to entertain all of the ponies of Ponydale. He stood on the stage in the very center of Ponydale, where the auction house area is now, and local Mayor Buttercup has set up her shop, and he prepared to perform death-defying feats of illusion for all of the citizens. This unicorn was a skilled master illusionist, and he performed many delightful tricks. Sorry, I got a little caught up in the moment there. Anyway, this unicorn had one last trick to perform. He was going to make himself disappear. No one had ever done this before. They certainly made things like other ponies disappear, or people's furniture, or even their wallets, but they'd never considered vanishing themselves, because what if you could never get back? And that is exactly what happened. It was the eve of Nightmare Night, and the darkest time possible, and this unicorn did his trick, vanishing before the entire audience and never returning. It's said that if you stand near the Ponydale stage on Nightmare Night Eve, you can hear the crowd applauding for a unicorn who will never return. I hope you have a safe and productive Nightmare Night. Go out and enjoy local events. Pet some bat ponies. Have some candy. And most of all, remember to just spend time with family and friends. After all, that's what this holiday is really about. So, until next time, we'll see you after the holiday. Every pony, enjoy Nightmare Night. Good night. Ha 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 ha.